Vice President Dr. Baumia says despite challenges of revenue government faced when it assumed office, it decided to reduce 15 taxes imposed on Ghanaians, and this include the benchmark values in order to provide reliefs to people and businesses and also shift from over-reliance on taxation to industrial growth. He was speaking at government's town hall meeting in Kumasi.
Notwithstanding the revenue challenges that we inherited, we took the decision to reduce taxes in the economy. We understood that the tax burden on individuals and businesses was high following the high tax increases under the NDC regime. We were aware that this could worsen our revenue challenges in the short term, but we were of the firm conviction that reducing taxes will spur growth and increase revenues in the medium to long term. In fulfillment of our promise to move the economy from a focus on taxation to a focus on production and growth, we have thus far reduced at least 15 separate taxes. Reducing these taxes was a brave decision. For any manager of an economy, you come in with an economy which is in very, very dire straits, and your first action is...
Let's still remain on the situation and speak to Clement Amwatin. He is he's the national organizer for GUTA. Thank you so much for your time, Clement.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
The Vice President, in your sector, there's been the abolition of the 1% special import levy, also the import duty on importation of spare parts. And when this issue came up, there was excitement all over. Let me find out from you. You are on the ground. What has been the impact?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. Yeah, as you rightly said, in the presentation of the 2017 budget, government announced abolishment of some nuisance taxes, as they called it, and notable among them were the 17.5 VAT on domestic flights, also 17.5 VAT on the financial transactions, and also 1% special import levy. And then the sector that I'm coming from, that is the spare parts industry, also 10% import duty were all abolished. Yeah, regarding the 10% import duty on spare parts, when it was announced, it had to go through some processes before its implementation. So even though it was announced, I think somewhere in February, its implementation actually started in June or July, thereabouts. Now, when it started, we really saw that what we were paying previously and now with the abolishment of the import duty, we saw that there had been some reduction, and that what we were paying was reasonably good. And then it continued like that until about 4 or 5 months, when the cedi started depreciating, and because they use dollar in working out the duty, even though it's being converted into cedis for us to pay. So as soon as the cedi depreciates, you should expect that whatever you will pay will be on the high side. So then people started agitation, and not even the spare parts people alone, but the entire business community started agitation that what they are paying was on the high side. So the government tasked a committee, because they were complaining that duties that are being paid in Ghana as compared to the sub-region was very on the higher side. So then the Vice President tasked a committee to visit various ports in the West Africa sub-region, and then see what they are also paying, and then compare it to what Ghana is paying. After that fact-finding tour, what they saw that really what Ghana was paying was on the higher side, and that culminated in the reduction of the benchmark. That's 50% across goods, and then 30% on vehicles.
But are you feeling the impact?
Yes, it's not bad, because had it not been the benchmark values, we would definitely have paid more. So the business community, like Oliver Twist, we always ask for more, but what we are paying currently is not bad.
So how has the cedi been stabilized to your expectations?
Yes, you know, the cedi, you know, depreciation has been a cyclical, you know, event. At certain point of the year, you will expect that the cedi, you know, definitely will fall. But if you do a comparative analysis, you see that even though the cedi has been depreciating, if you do a comparative analysis to, you know, previous years, you see that it has been falling, but it's not bad. But what we will encourage the government is to try as much as possible, you know, to come out with policies that will, you know, put this cyclical event to an end. And there has been a number of suggestions that GUTA has offered, you know, to government. And we think if government, you know, employs those measures, it will, you know, go a long way, you know, to help in this cedi depreciation.
Okay, there's still some outstanding issues. For example, the Meridian Port Services, which you did complain about the charges. Has anything been done about this?
Yes, MPS, you know, in the beginning, I think the beginning of the year or latter part of last year, you know, came out with an astronomical increase in the handling charges at the ports, and we complained that the fees are very on the higher side, and then they had made some reduction, but I think there is still room for improvement, and they can still go further, you know, to do further reduction, because you see, you cannot sign a contract which spans up to about 35 years and you expect to, you know, reap your benefits within 2-3 years. That can be possible. So they can still do better.
And we cannot go without us talking about foreigners in retail trade. Do you see the commitment from government to resolve the impasse?
Yes, you know, in the last tour that the president did in Greater Accra here, you know, they invited GUTA when the president met us at Okanshi, and there the president said that nobody should take the laws into his or her own hands, and that we should leave it to the authorities to work on it. And on that meeting, the trade minister was there, so, you know, he tasked, you know, the trade minister to reignite the committee that has been formed, because the committee, you know, had then been, you know, adamant, and they were not doing any work. So he tasked the committee, he tasked the trade minister to try as much as possible to ignite the committee, so that quickly they should go into action and then see to deal with that issue. And soon after that, the committee came up with a roadmap, you know, to deal with this situation. And then within the committee, they came out with another subcommittee, and the first operation that they did was to go to the mobile phone area at Circle, and then they pitch up their camp over there for almost about 1 week, and ask all the foreigners who are engaged in the retail business there to come out with their documents for them to assess whether they are supposed to be there. And for over close to about 600 shops that have been closed over there, only about 5 people have the requisite, you know, documents to be doing business there. So those 5 people, their shops have been opened, but those other shops have been closed, and they are now going to come out with a roadmap, because from Circle they have to move to other areas, you know, to engage in that operation. So I think if they continue with that, in no matter of time, we will get rid of all these foreigners in the retail business.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. And Clement Boateng is national organizer of GUTA.